One of the points the Prime Minister emphasised on was that he said that there are some quarters that are trying to send a signal. They're trying to suggest that Turkey is opposed to this referendum on the basis of some ethnic discrimination, sort of trying to discriminate against the Kurds. But the Prime Minister said that clearly that was not the case. Turkey is a nation that has people who are Kurdish, Arabs, Caucasian, and of many other different ethnicities, and there is no discrimination whatsoever, and Turkey cannot pursue such a policy. But at the same time, he said that it's important that people don't try to overshadow the real concerns, the security concerns that this referendum could trigger a domino effect that would pose a security threat, not just to Turkey, but to this entire region. It would pose a threat to the territorial integrity of Iraq as well as Syria. The Prime Minister mentioned the PKK terror group, and he pointed out that over the last 40 years, Turkey has been dealing with this terrorist group, and the modus operandi of this group is quite clear. The way it has been operating, the way it has been trying to consolidate more territorial control and sort of use that territory to launch terrorist attacks into Turkey. Now, of course, just to put that in context, some 37,000 people in Turkey have been killed by this terrorist organization. And the Prime Minister said that Turkey is in coordination with Baghdad and that Turkey is not going to rush into any military adventurism. But at the same time, Ankara is closely monitoring the situation, and it will take whatever steps are needed to be taken to ensure its security.
But now that the vote is actually happening, what recourse does Turkey actually have? Is it too late for Turkey and Ankara to exert any kind of pressure on the KRG?
No, the officials in Ankara are very clear. They're saying that, of course, there are many options on the table. Ankara has tried to persuade the KRG administration not to go ahead with this referendum, pointing out the threats. But at the same time, officials here are saying that, of course, they can understand some of the personal stakes of Mr. Barzani and why he insisted on holding this referendum. Turkey has political options. KRG is quite isolated. Turkey has very feasible economic sanctions that it could impose on the KRG-controlled areas. And, of course, that is very likely to cripple that region. But at the same time, Prime Minister pointed out that Turkey has this humanitarian concern as well, which it keeps in perspective. And of course, because Turkey is coordinating with Baghdad, he was asked a question about the oil supply and whether Turkey would be blockading it. He said that if Baghdad requests that Turkey allows that oil to continue, then Turkey would be considering Baghdad's request. But at the same time, of course, he said that all options are on the table, and this includes the military option.